Hey everyone, it's the first day of spring and it's time to plant tomato seeds. Now there's a lot to get into when it comes to actually growing tomato plants well and producing a ton of fruit. And I'm going to do a whole other video on that once the seedlings are ready to be transplanted into the garden. This video is about taking a packet of seeds and growing them into healthy, vibrant seedlings that are ready to plant out in the garden. So if you're ready to get started, let's go. So I actually never even liked tomatoes until a few years ago. I mean, the only ones I'd ever had were either store-bought or, the kind I got at the garden center for transplants, like Better Boy, Early Girl. And while those are way better than store-bought, I just still wasn't impressed. Then I tried heirlooms. The first ones I tried were Brandywine and Kellogg's Breakfast. What a completely different world. Both were so different from any that I had had before and different from each other. And it turns out that I am a bigger fan of yellow, less tomatoey tomatoes, but I always like trying something new. So actually this year, I'm gonna stick with Kellogg's Breakfast because I don't think there'll ever be a year that I don't grow that. Something that's similar would be Dr. Witchie's or White Cheese Yellow. Both of those are from M.I. Gardner. I thought this looked like a cool one in the catalog from Baker Creek. It's Lucid Gem. That's kind of a half yellow, half red. And then I have three from Callie Kim. Got a Golden Jubilee, a Marglobe, and then your traditional Roma for when you want kind of a more meaty sauce type tomato. But no matter what tomatoes you're growing, you can either wait until all danger of frost is past. If you're in a warmer winter climate or have a longer growing season, that's okay to do. But if you want to get a jump on things, or you live in a colder winter climate with a shorter growing season, you probably want to get a jump on things as well that way with starting them indoors. And you can either start them indoors in a sunny window, but sometimes that's iffy. You really need a window that's got at least 6 hours of pretty direct sunlight, or under grow lights. And if you're growing them under grow lights, you want to make sure to have the light about 3 inches from the top of the leaves at all times. And as those plants grow, it needs to be something where you can raise the light with it or lower the base and lower the plants away from it as the plants grow. You can sow the seeds in just about anything that will hold soil. You can use an old pot, 6-pack containers from the garden center, red Solo cup, or any type of plastic cup. Whatever you're using though, it's got to have drainage. These cups don't come with drainage. So what I do is I take a hot nail and I just kind of make 3, 4, 5 holes in the bottom depending on the size of the nail. And that's going to give you adequate drainage for your seedlings. You also want to use sterile seed starting mix, not potting soil or compost from the garden for sure. It needs to be sterile so you have less chance of pathogens and disease. The really cool thing about planting in cups is, first of all, you get a longer time before you have to put them out. 6 to 8 weeks, this should be totally fine growing a tomato. And what's cool is about tomatoes is anywhere along the stem that touches soil, it's going to grow new roots. So if you only fill this half full of the seed starting mix, put your seeds in there. As the plant grows, you can now put more soil in until it gets to the top of this the cup, and you're going to have a really strong plant because all along that stem is going to have roots. And so when you plant that out into the garden, it's going to be able to take off quickly and be really strong. I'm going to be using Jiffy peat pellets. These are great because they're nice and neat. They start out as a little compressed disc of peat, and when you soak them in water, they expand, and they have a little netting around them to kind of keep everything tidy. Now these, they have 2 sizes. This is the smaller size, and then they have a larger size. If you are going to be growing them indoors for 6, 8 weeks or more, you really want the larger size. These are only going to be in here for maybe 4 weeks, so the small size for me is going to do just fine. So with the peat pellets, if there's any net over the top, just kind of pull it back, and you're going to take a toothpick and just kind of make a little hole in the center. Now you're going to want to put 2 to 3 seeds in each one every time you're planting, because you want backups. You know, if this is the first year that you have these seeds, they're pretty new, you're going to get a good germination rate, but just in case, you want to make sure that you've got at least one in each one of these to be able to plan ahead for how many you're putting out in the garden. So put the seeds in there, maybe 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch deep, and just kind of cover it up. And remember to label. I always forget to label, so I've got, you can use anything. I've got plastic knives, because at the end of your plastic cutlery set, you've always got knives left over for whatever reason. So this is my Kellogg's breakfast. And I'm actually going to do twice as many Kellogg's breakfasts as the rest, because I know for sure that I like those. So I'm not going to make you watch me plant all of these. I'm just going to go ahead and plant them. So no matter if you're planting in the Jiffy pellets, in the cup method, a pot, it doesn't matter. Cover with about 1/4 inch of soil. Keep it moist at all times. And seedlings don't need much fertilizer. Maybe 3 to 4 weeks when they're starting to get their second or their first real set of leaves. The first 2 leaves that come out are their seed leaves. They're not the real leaves. The second set that comes out look like tomato leaves. When those come out, you can give them maybe a liquid organic fertilizer, half strength, every couple of weeks until you're ready to put them out in the garden. In a few weeks, when these are ready to be planted out in the garden, I'm going to do an entirely new video to show you step by step how to grow the most prolific tomato plants loaded with the most juicy tomatoes you've ever seen. So make sure you're subscribed. Go on, make sure. Right now, come on. I'll see you guys next time.